people, it's your boss man back again with another Rival Fan preview. As always, the Rival fans are outnumbered. Hopefully we'll get an even split at some point during the season, similar to the Leeds game. But nevertheless, make sure, as always, you get your comments in. Let our brother know your thoughts. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel, of course. Show love to David, who is representing Wolves today. As I already mentioned, very much outnumbered, but nevertheless, he's going to come and hold his own. First and foremost, David, how are you doing?
All right, I'm not too bad. Not too bad. 2 defeats for us, but things are looking promising. New style, got to bed in, you know, that sort of thing. So I'm still feeling confident. You boys are going to be in for a right hiding on the week.
I like the confidence. Also, we have got the other Wolves representative, which probably doesn't make much sense because he's a regular on the channel, and of course he's a Man United fan. But if you're not aware, he is actually from that region of the world, or the UK, should I say, that part of the world. We got Yusuf representing Wolves also. Yusuf, how you doing, brother?
Yeah, I'm okay, thanks. Thanks a lot for having me on the show. I'm looking forward to hearing everyone's thoughts. Good to meet David for the first time, a fellow Wolverhampton friend. So yeah, man, looking forward to the show.
You love to see it. You love to see it. Listen, as always, we got the homie in the building representing Manchester United. You already know, from United Team Talk. We got Jerry in the building. Jerry, how you doing, brother?
Yeah, as I said before, things good considering. Yeah, it's kind of mixed feelings right now, but yeah, we'll get into the video and then we'll share our views and whatnot. So
yeah. Listen, this is gonna, for me personally, I'm a bit peed off, as Jerry knows from the chat. Anyways, I'm more of the Gary Neville's comments than the actual results, because I just think he's taking the piss. But it is what it is. We'll get into that very shortly. Last but not least, we have got Sean here as well. Obviously, Sean's a busy guy, so God knows how long he's gonna be out. But nevertheless, Sean, how you doing, brother?
What's going on, gentlemen? It's the Yank that you love to love, or hey, it doesn't matter to me. At the end of the day, man, it's all good. Just rolling through the great state of Texas, enjoying this 5,000-degree hell of heat. But just ready to talk some United, man, and hopefully my guy Jerry is in the building. Got something good to say today, and he's spitting that goodness and not a bunch of nonsense. Don't start, Jerry.
Every time, this guy,
he's already started. I mean, Sean's gonna do it.
My brother.
Basically gonna talk about Jerry on my behalf, so I don't need to worry about. I can stay neutral today. Big Ron's in the building saying good evening as always. Love to see you, Big Ron. Hopefully doing well. As always, get your comments in and get your questions if you've got any regarding the game, that kind of thing. But we're gonna start with, first and foremost, the performances from the weekend leading into this game. So for that reason, we'll start with you, David. Obviously, Wolves are currently playing. But as I mentioned prior to coming on air, you guys absolutely battered Tottenham Hotspur. You know, let's be real. You should have quite comfortably won that game. I mean, they only had 2 noticeable chances, from what I'm aware of. Of course, one being the penalty, and the second very late into the game. I believe Bergwijn and Son had a little couple of shots. But minus Traore, Boris finishing absolutely terrorized Tanganga. David, what are your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely.
As you kind of mentioned already, that new sort of style, so to speak.
Well, that's the thing. It's a completely different style. So how you've seen us play against you in the last few seasons, forget that. It'll be nothing like that. Absolutely nothing like that. So it's not. Whereas before we were like, we would sit, hit you on the break, sit, hit you on the break. It's all front foot now. A lot quicker, a lot more closing down, much higher up the pitch, which makes it for us, from our point of view, it's much more exciting. Traore is looking an absolute beast, bar the finishing, which, to be honest, isn't that bad. I have to say, there's a kind of bit of a 50-50 with Wolves fans. Some are like, oh, his final product's rubbish, and then there's a lot of people like myself and other fans who are like, no, he's absolutely worth it. He basically needs 3 people marking him at most of the time, so that opens up space for everyone else. And the thing is, that finishing will come, and you can see. And the thing is, this season he started this season on fire, and he looks really up for it again. And it's just gonna. you want to hope that he doesn't click on Sunday, because
Honest to God,
if everything clicks and falls into place, yeah, he's a match winner every time.
Yeah, without a shadow of doubt. There's that one clip, that one set of passage of play when Tanganga's trying to wrestle with him and he just rolls it around him, absolutely bullies him, and then accelerates. And I was like, what? Like completely left him, and then plays it to him, and then obviously got the shot away just over. I mean, that would have been a beautiful goal in terms of the football.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's all this rumor of him leaving and being transfer talk about him, and honestly, I just don't want to see him go, because even you'll accept that he's okay. He might not score as many as others, because it gets you off your seat every time he gets on the ball. You're like, what's going to happen? And it could go any way, and that makes it worth watching. It really does.
But that's what you want
if it's clicking, yeah.
But that's what you want.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Like I said, I watched the highlights, because my night were playing at the same time. It's difficult to watch the whole night. But I watched the extended highlights, etc. But literally every time he got the ball, it looked like something was going to happen. And that, for me personally, that's the thing that's missing from Man United at the moment. I'm sure the guys will be able to elaborate on that. But Rashford's kind of the only person that's done that for us in the last couple of years. He has that capability of taking a player on, beating a man, etc., committing so on. But Traore, like you said, you need 2-3 players marking him, and I'm dreading it. I mean, you're not going to want to need this, but I hope he goes to Spurs, so it means he's not playing us on the weekend, because we need these 3 points desperately. So I'm going to go to Jerry. Obviously, shout out to Ali coming through. Also, we've got a comment here regarding Jimenez. We will get to Jimenez, obviously. Good to see him back on the pitch, first and foremost, man. Absolute top quality player. Jerry, what are your thoughts on Traore quickly? And then, obviously, our perspective of our sort of results, so to speak.
Sean, if you want to mute your thing, because it's bare noise, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, oh.
Thank you.
Oh, I didn't realize, bloody hell.
Yeah, regarding Traore, I've clocked him obviously ever since he came to Wolves. Like I know he was a big signing from, was it Middlesbrough? It was a big money signing, right? And I thought, Wolves makes sense. That type of team makes sense for him to obviously come back to the Premier League. And I even telling my brothers on my channel, like, every time I watched him, you can't get the ball off this guy. You either have to foul him or he's going past you. Like, every time I watched him, I'm thinking, this guy, he's the real deal. Obviously, his final product ain't there, but the pace is scary, man. Like, even on my FIFA career modes, I always buy him. Just hold the run button. He's gone. You're not catching him. However,
the other thing about him is I have to say this, because it's always people always focus on his pace and power, but he's actually a damn good dribbler of the ball. He's very skillful. That's the thing, and it's always the focus on the other bit. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Sorry, Karen.
No worries. But I know I've criticized him many times, but I think with Wan-Bissaka right back, I'm kind of semi-confident. Like, I know he's not going to be touch tight like Tanganga was in the last game. He's going to give himself a bit of room, but then he does his Spider-Man tackles and whatnot. But that battle's going to be very interesting to see. But I back Wan-Bissaka, man. I think he'll do his homework, give himself a bit of room, and he's quite fast himself. So, but Traore, it's always scary when he gets the ball, man. Like David said, you're going to need 2-3 man to double up on him. Like, whoever's playing the centre mid has to shift across. If Varane's playing right centre back, which I hope he does, that will also help because he's fast as well. So we need to look out for Traore for sure.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, there is this notion that his end product isn't great. I mean, his finishing's not great, but
his passing is good.
I mean, but that season when he was literally assisting Jimenez every single game.
Yeah, that's true.
People are completely forgot. I mean, like,
true.
I think Traore is a bit underrated to an extent. I mean, obviously, like David, you kind of alluded to it. Everyone focuses on his explosive pace, but his crossing is actually fantastic. For that season, prior to Jimenez's injury, like, he got about 10, 12 assists all on Jimenez's head. Like, they were on his head. Like, there was moments where as you alluded to earlier, you're very negative on Nuno. You didn't really commit that when your body's forward. Adama Traore's passing, his crossing had to be very accurate because he didn't have much to aim at on your counter attack. So
yeah, we usually only had one. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It was normally only Jimenez in the box, and he would land it on his head quite a lot of the time. So I think that is a bit disrespectful to him. I understand why people kind of band it with him, but it's nowhere near as bad as people make out. And for me personally, I'm massively worried about the guy. Like I said, I really do hope Spurs sign him up before the game, but either way, he's going to play us at some point during the season. But listen, let's get Sean's thoughts on. Obviously, hopefully, it's not too much background noise. Sean, what are your thoughts in terms of the perspective from our game? So obviously, we drew 1-1 on the weekend. Wolves potentially a bit more confident going into after a very good performance. As a Manchester United fan, how are you feeling going into the game after our performance?
It depends on how Wolves set up, because I think that from what I've just heard, that they are setting into a different type of a system, where Wolves were always kind of a bogey team for us because they like to set up to defend and hit you on the break. And the fact is, that's kind of what we do. So we don't do the best at breaking down low blocks. But I want to agree with Jerry 100%. So Jerry, go ahead and take this note that I'm actually doing this.
I clip this.
I'll clip it.
But the thing is, I think that Traore, well, I think he's amazing. I feel like he sets. He's kind of the type of player that Wan-Bissaka really shines against, because Traore gets in behind. He feeds on breaking teams down in such a way he makes them lose their shape. Well, Wan-Bissaka don't even know what shape is. So he don't even worry about. He can't keep shape. Listen, he don't even care. He's more one-on-one defending. Let's both be out there acting crazy, all out of position, know what we're doing, and I'm just going to slide in. So I'm not even checking for him, because if anything, Wan-Bissaka makes me nervous when someone actually expects him to guard the back post, which is what my 10-year-olds do, and Wan-Bissaka doesn't. But ultimately, with United, it is what it is. I'm confident this weekend just because I feel like the lads will have something to prove after being shocking over the weekend. They were horrible. Management was horrible. We were just bad. So, that brought us back down to earth. Hopefully this week we'll come a little closer to earth. That's why I'm saying United will only win 6-1. Anyway, back to you.
What? you had me apart from the end there, which I know you're joking about because me and you have very similar opinions on the whole fiasco. So I'm just going to give the perspective of Manchester United fan. I know obviously YouTube is kind of doing the Wolves a bit. For me personally, going into this game, I'm very pessimistic. I mean, going into the game prior, which of course was the Southampton game, as you can imagine, I was somewhat confident going into that game. However, there was some area of doubt. We did it in the preview this time last week. Myself, Yusuf, and Jerry on the preview were saying, we just don't know which way United is going to turn up, and we have got that in us to, struggle to break teams down. As you already alluded to, David, you're playing a more expansive football. Although it was very good against Spurs, I think that's going to play into our hands, to be quite frank honest with you. Although you could quite easily outscore us. I'm not saying you can't, because you have got quality.
I was going to ask, how many are you likely to play in midfield?
It's probably going to be the exact. It's probably going to be McFred. It's going to be 4-2-3-1 McFred, and this has been the issue, right? Every time we played Wolves, the issue has been you've dominated the midfield. Jair Moutinho and Neves in particular have practically dominated us every time you played us. From what I can recall, I'm sure someone can correct me. But every time we play you guys, it seems like you guys win the midfield battle for whatever reason. I can't remember many occasions that we've won it. And that is down to the fact that Ollie persists with his McFred pivot, which is very defensive in the sense that not only are they not predominantly good on the ball, but if we just have no ball retention, we don't control the game, which allows players like Moutinho, who's a top player, and of course Ruben Neves, who's linked to Man United as well, to control the game because they've got that in their locker. So I think that's a concern for me. What I will say from the Southampton game, Ollie has to change that. I will personally put Van der Beek in. Everyone knows my thoughts on Van der Beek. It's actually starting to really frustrate me now because he can't personally do any worse than Fred, who's literally had an absolute nightmare on the weekend. But of course, I'm sure we'll touch upon that. You just want to get your thoughts in as the resident of Wolverhampton. What are your thoughts from the Wolves' perspective going into this game? As David alluded to, they've lost both games, but they've looked impressive.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. The fact that they're, as David said, they're playing with a new system. So I'm actually very intrigued to see Wolves' approach in this game. Wolves historically have always been very difficult for us in the last couple of seasons, but we beat them twice last season, so I'm a bit more optimistic. But I guess the fact that they've changed their system, that's throwing a little bit of caution because now I have no idea what to expect. As the guys were saying, rightfully so, that with Wolves sort of to sit back and then they hit you on the break, and obviously you're talking about Adama Traore, who just frightens me. I mean, he's a player I would love to have at Man United. I mean, and I'm praying there's 5 days till the game. I'm praying that Tottenham buy him before then, and because I think he's such a terrific player. I think it's very, very harsh when people go on about his end product. Because we live in that era now of everyone's obsessed by stats, and if you're a winger and you're not getting assists, you're not good enough. If you're a striker, you don't score. Oh, he's not good enough. So he offers so much more. And the point about his dribbling as well. His dribbling is is absolutely incredible. And thankfully, we do have a guy called Wan-Bissaka who is arguably probably the best one-on-one defender in. I mean, I'm going to say it probably in the whole of Europe.
I have to say from previous encounters, he has looked one of the better fullbacks against Traore. I have to say that he stood out as someone who dealt with him better than others.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Yeah, I think Sean said it before that Wan-Bissaka actually. I mean, I can't really think of a player who's got the better of him, but the only player I can remember is a guy who plays for Brighton.
Solly
the left-footed guy. Solly March. He's the only player I think I've ever seen that actually gave him.
He had about 10 chances in that first game.
Yeah,
that was positioning, though.
That was positioning to be fair.
No, I know, but even in that game, Aaron surprisingly was he was stumbling. Like, you know how he always, when he's out of position, he still gets there. Like he almost rectifies his own mistake, which is what Phil Jones's career is basically. That's his career, isn't it? Basically, and as I said, but Traore frightens me to death, but. I'm a little bit concerned, obviously, after our disappointing game against Southampton, naturally. But I mean, so you're always quietly confident, but hopefully, our manager will play his new players from the start because I think that's fundamental.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that very sure. And I just got these two comments that were just making me laugh. Just putting a bid for Neves just didn't settle him and make him not play against. And then someone else has replied in the chat.
Hands off.
Someone's replied in the chat, that's really clever. Man City did that with Harry Kane and Spurs and it backfired. So obviously that's a great comeback. Also, Ali has literally said this about 10 times in the chat. Fred, every team except Leeds dominate with Fred. Where are we? If Ali persists with Fred, I'm done. I don't think Ali wants Fred to play. Remember, Ali clapped when Fred had a shot off target. You think you lost the ball? Oh my god, I really don't think Ali likes Fred. But anyways, David, let's talk about the main hitters. Ruben Neves definitely one of them. He's been linked to practically every team in the Premier League, as you would know better than me. Where do you think this game's going to be won or lost in terms of Wolves' perspective?
I would say, obviously, midfield. If Neves continues his form as well, this way he started this season, then against Tottenham, it was absolutely awesome. So I'm kind of there's part of me that wants him to play really badly against you, so you don't buy him. And then, but obviously, I'd rather see him just carry on as is. He's basically he is Wolves. He's everything about the new era of Wolves, and when on song, he's an absolute joy because
he scored passes a few times as well, hasn't he?
That's it. Yeah, I mean, he's just lovely. He's just a lovely player to watch and enjoy because the thing is what he is. Defensively, he's very good as well. That's the thing. He's not the kind of defensive midfielder who runs around kicking people in the air. He just breaks up play. Nice play out, or a good pass through. And with Traore now making runs in behind that he never used to do, he's finding him a lot, which is where you keep saying this, and this is why people criticise Drew, because he's making these fantastic runs and that only he can do, and coming one-on-one and not being able to finish it, but no one else can do that. Outside of that, I mean, we've got the young lad Trincao from Barcelona on loan.
He's good.
He's got some skills, which is nice. Jimenez in the middle again. He's starting a bit slower. To be fair, he hasn't played for 18 months.
I was about to say, how's he getting on? Because I've not really seen much of him at the moment. Is he settled in?
Oh yeah, he's still there, but you can tell he hasn't played for a while. It might take him a few more games to be the Jimenez that we all remember. Absolutely. But he doesn't. It's not like the head injuries stopping him from going into stuff. He's still jumping in, heading the ball, and all that sort of. He's not. That's it. And then on our defence, we were as fans, we were generally very worried about our defence, and we've actually, we've conceded a goal in each game, but it hasn't looked bad. They've been more down to individual mistakes. I think what I'm most worried about is if Pogba decides to show his Juventus form rather than his Man United form, and turns up, because he is an awesome player when he decides to turn up. The thing is, you've got such a great squad. If you all turn up, we will have a hard game. If you have a Southampton performance, then we're all right.
Oh yeah, that Southampton performance, what an absolute beauty that was. There's quite a lot of questions for you, David, actually. I'm not going to lie, so I'm trying to think of which ones might be worth asking. Obviously, the Jimenez one, you've kind of answered that already. A lot of people talk about Jimenez. I mean, the Ruben Neves one, I feel like I want to ask you, but I feel like it's the reason they're asking you is because my United fans want to know if he suits us, basically. I'm not going to lie, so I won't ask you that out of respect. But does he suit my United? I'm joking.
Yes, yes, he does. He would. I'll be honest. On song, I think he could play in most midfields.
Oh, wow.
I say most, and then
what's
certainly
Jimenez,
be knocking on the door.
What would Jimenez offer to his main line midfield? Obviously, again, I know it's a bit disrespectful, but
Neves or Jimenez?
Sorry, Neves. Where have I got Jimenez from?
Neves. The breaking up of the play, and being able to move the ball on accurately and quickly to pretty much anyone, and that's the thing. He'll and just that reading, breaking it up, protecting the back. Is it back four you play?
Yeah, back four. Yeah.
Well, protecting that, but the defensive line, he'll pick it up and then just put a nice ball through. And the thing is, it's the speed of thought. He gets criticised sometimes for not being mobile enough. I disagree. He might not be pacey, but he certainly can get around the pitch. I think he suffers that criticism is probably suffered from the way we used to play, where we play very defensive. So therefore, he'd be sat really deep. But this season, he's moving forward. He's around everywhere. I would say he's more like an old-fashioned midfielder in that he can defend, he can go forward.
Carrick, I'm not going to lie, the way you describe it.
Yeah.
Like Carrick, that's what Carrick wasn't particularly quick, but he had that reading of the game, which is why he was so in the position.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think with obviously the new system, as you've alluded to, it's definitely going to help him flourish more. It's going to have more opportunities to obviously get that pass on through to us, Traore, etc. But listen, Jerry, let's get your thoughts on. Obviously, it must be nice to have midfielders that can pass it from deep.
Yeah, mate.
We wouldn't have a clue. Let's talk about our midfield. I mean, the question on everyone's lips. In terms of Man United's fans, especially after the Gary Neville debacle last night, is Van de Beek. Yeah. I mean, just to put in context, David, in case you're not aware, Scott McTominay got substituted on instead of Van de Beek when Scott McTominay is actually injured, and he has actually been ruled out of the Scottish squad today as well, just to back up that. So, 75th minute, we needed a goal against Southampton. He subs on an injured McTominay who's 50% fit over Van de Beek, who's clearly better at what we needed in that moment in the game, which is a football in the game, so to control the game, that kind of thing. And McTominay today, has been ruled out of the Scottish team, and it just goes to show he wasn't actually injured. So basically, Jerry, he'd rather play an injured Scott McTominay over fit, who's had a great preseason, Van der Beek. So, I mean, where does this leave Van der Beek? He's not going to play, is he, realistically?
This is just. I see someone say this treatment of Van der Beek's worse than Mourinho's with Shaw, and
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that, but
yeah.
the way the agenda driven is like he just doesn't fancy Donny Van der Beek, and I don't understand why. Like, I kind of not with Shaw that I agreed with it, but Shaw was turning out rubbish performances, so it wasn't justified. But you can see why he wasn't, getting selected. But Van der Beek, that there's been no reason why he doesn't play. When you look at the other options we have in midfield, not even to come on, like you said, Scott 50% fit. Then he brings on Lingard, who just recovered from COVID. Like, and Van der Beek still on the bench, just warming up the seats. Like, for me, it just doesn't make sense. With preseason, I thought him and Matic, maybe that could be a two. Like, last season we had Matic Pogba play, or it was Fred and Scott play. I thought Van der Beek and Matic could have their own, partnership. So when I saw Matic, I thought, so Van der Beek must definitely be alongside him. Then I see Fred and Matic. I was kind of thinking, it's all right, but I'm not sure, man. And for him just not to come on, it's just sad. And now we're linked with Saul, and it's like, but we've got Van der Beek. Like, do we really need Saul? Like, this guy, he's the most intelligent in the midfield, of course, that player that we have, and he's just not getting minutes, man. 40 million, it's like, for what are we doing? I felt this way about Mata as well. I don't know if you guys remember, but when we signed him and we kept putting him on the right, I was thinking, what are we doing? We're just wasting a talented player out of position, and he's not even getting a chance to play in the team or in his natural position. But with Van der Beek, it's like, when is he going to get an opportunity? Because we've got Champions League, we've got Premier League, the cup games. He's better than that. He was playing Champions League before most of these players in our team right now. Like, he's got experience, and he's just back of the line. It's baffling to me. So this Wolves game, for me, with Scott ruled out, it leaves Matic, Fred. After last week, Sunday's performance, it feels like last week, flipping out. After Sunday's performance, if they start again, then Van der Beek might as well just hand the transfer request and leave in this window, because he ain't gonna play. He just ain't gonna play, and I'm sad for him, man.
Yeah, no, I was just about to say he'd actually do really well at Wolves, with the Ruben Neves and Jeremy Tina. I think he'll be brilliant in that midfield three. But just on what you said at the end, like, for me personally, if you can't play this game against Wolves,
it's done.
It's simple as that. People say we're gonna hit Saul, Camavinga. What's the point? They're not gonna play either. Like, potentially like, he's not playing Van der Beek.
I know that. Yeah.
There's no way, right? There's some whoever it was, someone was arguing with me on Twitter because I was saying Van der Beek has to play, right? And someone was telling me, Van der Beek's stats statistically haven't been great for Manchester United. He hasn't been given a chance, basically. And the fact of the matter is, and Fred on the weekend, although I was picking him up, absolutely embarrassing performance. Not only did he score an own goal, but him and Matic between them passed away 40 times, and that was a midfield pivot. And they're only playing safe passes. They're not playing penetrating passes that you unlock a defense, like Pogba or Bruno would be doing. They're playing safe passes and passed away 40 times. And both of them didn't play the full 90 minutes. So God knows what they would have done if they played the full 90 minutes. So for me personally, if Ollie doesn't trust him in the game against Wolves, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Of course, defensively, he has his deficiencies. Potentially we could get exploited on the back of that. But nevertheless, you want to be controlling.
Yusuf, it's not the time, man. Take that picture off, please.
Oh my God! You want to be controlling. You want to be controlling the game. You need to ensure against a team like Wolves that you're in the game, not to just sit back and allow them to have the momentum, have a foothold in the game. We know what Wolves are like. We played them in the last couple of years. Every time they settle into a game, and they stay in the game, they look the better team. They grow into the game, and a majority of the time, towards the end of each game we played against them, they look like they're going to win it. Like, I know Rashford got that one where we absolutely robbed him in the 93rd minute, where he deflected. I think that was last season, if I'm not wrong. But prior to that, we completely didn't show up. And a lot of that is down to the fact that we have absolutely no base. And also, as you mentioned, Varane and Sancho in particular. Varane in particular has to start because the passing out from the back last week, against Southampton, was almost as bad as Arsenal's, and that is saying something because they are absolutely shambolic. And we're going to pass it over to Yusuf with his Fred emoji picture, whatever you want to call it. Yusuf, what are your thoughts? Does Van der Beek get into this team? Are you sticking with Fred? And Matthias, what are you saying?
Yeah, I mean, it would be great if Van der Beek was given more opportunities. It's hard to understand why we would spend £35 million on such an intelligent player. And Jerry made the great point. I think Van der Beek is, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he's 24 years of age. He's been playing Champions League for a long time. Before when we weren't even qualifying, he was playing for Ajax, like semi-finals, like absolutely bossing it. So the fact that he can't be trusted. Now, as someone who plays football and has played football, there's one factor that people seem to like completely ignore, that whilst Donny van der Beek deserves more opportunities, we do not know how he trains every day. How does he cope in that environment? You can't underestimate. A manager watches his players train. Let's say 5 out of 7 days, they might get a day off. The day before a game, obviously they don't play, they don't train. So we don't know how well he trains.
He must be training Schalke, the friends in that team over him. Like, surely it must be absolutely horrendous in training.
Who, Van der Beek?
I mean, Lingard had COVID. Lingard's not had a training session after COVID, right? He's come back and he's played more minutes than Van der Beek.
No, I don't disagree with you. I 100% with you. What I'm just trying to say is that there's obviously that is. I do think that's an important factor, but I think that the reason why he's not picked, and we were having a discussion on your the fan calling on the weekend after the game, that I don't think that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer views Donny van der Beek to play as a central midfielder. I know he's played there in some games for us. I think he just views him as a number 10. That's why, and we have the best number 10 in Europe. I mean, that's not even the debate. So I think that's why he's not playing him where we don't want to see Fred and McTominay. I don't want to see Fred and McTominay. I'm happy when Fred plays. And yeah, Fred was really poor on the weekend. But if I can put a question to the three of you, you all agree you would rather have Ruben Neves in your team than, obviously David's going to say that. But I know Jerry and Usman, you would rather obviously have Neves.
That's a no-brainer, isn't it?
No, okay, fine. I just compare. I already knew this before, but I was just reading their stats of last season. Their statistics are almost identical, except for Neves had more shots than him and scored more goals. Everything else, one is either better than the other by 2 or 3. It's exactly the same.
Obviously, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, but I could not sit here.
No, but what I'm saying is,
tell me Fred's passing is as good as Ruben Neves.
Oh. I haven't said that.
In the same stratosphere. No,
I haven't said. I'm saying overall their stats are basically the same.
But those stats we're gonna say, XYZ is completely the same amount of passes. I mean, I personally with eyes can see Ruben Neves is way better than him at passing. Regardless of what the stats suggest, it's not factual, is it? I mean, Fred can't pass it over 5 yards, can he, or 10 yards max?
Like, this is where we're going to disagree. But okay, it's fine. I think to call a professional that you can't pass, I think that's just. It doesn't make sense to me because it's just not true. It's just an exaggeration of saying that.
Bro,
it's just very disrespectful to say.
I'm sorry. He can't. He's got the ability to, but
you're saying he can't pass, but the stats are telling you he can. So that what are we trusting then? What are we trusting then?
The execution.
I trust what I see on the pitch. And on Sunday, I did a watch along with Usman. Bro, we both saw it. Like, this guy was kicking it out of play multiple times, and I'm thinking, bro, what are you doing? Like,
I'm not disagreeing with that, but I saw that in my what I'm saying is I'm not defending his performance, but I will never accept when it's certain players that when they give the ball away they multiply it by 5. When it's Fred, if it's someone else does the same thing, yeah, Fred did pass out of play. I'm not disagreeing with you at all. He was not good.
Yeah, but
there were 10 other players on the pitch who were also, except for Pogba, who weren't very good either.
He does it frequent. That's why we get onto him. Plus, he's taking the space of Van der Beek. That's what even gets us more angry, because he can actually ball retention, quick passes, 1-2. He's perfect at it. Fred is just He's just Fred, isn't it?
I don't disagree. What I'm saying is this, and this is the last thing I'll say on Fred, because obviously I don't want to disagree with people. But all I'm going to say is this:
you can disagree with whoever you want. You're entitled to opinion, man.
That's what
all I'm going to say is this, right? I understand 100% why Ole Gunnar Solskjaer plays certain players over other players. I know it's obvious. We don't have a midfielder in our whole of our squad who can get around the pitch. I don't agree with it, but this is what it is. No one can cover the ground like Fred. No one can. He has the highest ball recoveries. You can't play, as we saw, Matic and Fred. It just doesn't work. That I will agree with you 100%. McTominay was injured. That's why he didn't play. McTominay would have played. Could have been a different result. We don't know, obviously, but context is obviously important. But and also hindsight is a dangerous game. But that's why he's favoured. You can't play in a Premier League game with. I don't think Van der Beek can defensively do what Fred does. Van der Beek is a much better footballer. I 100% agree with you. Play both of them. Actually, I would play Pogba in central midfield against Neves and Moutinho, two high IQ footballers. Play your best midfielder in central midfield. Pogba is a number 6. João Moutinho is a fabulous football player, as is Neves. I would just play Bruno, Pogba, and Fred as a 3. That's what I would do personally. Obviously, you would probably have Van der Beek in there, but you can't have Pogba, Bruno, and then no one who can't recover the ball well. You see what I'm trying to say?
I mean, we're not talking about ball recoveries here, because I agree with you in terms of Fred. Fred, ball recoveries is probably the best in the team, if I'm not wrong. But we're talking about his ability to pass the ball, and as you alluded to earlier, his stats are similar to Neves. I mean, the stats are completely misleading. There's no way his passing range is no. It's not even in the same stratosphere as Neves. Like, it's not even close to Neves' passing range. He hasn't got it. Fred has not got that in his locker.
I wasn't saying that.
I know, but if you're saying the stats are the same, I'm assuming that's you've got.
No, I was asking a question on the base of when people say, "Oh, the eye test and this and that," and if it's very similar, I get it. I agree. He's a better passer than Fred, but I'm just saying it's not as like one-sided as it's made out to be.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Basically, the reason why I don't want Fred in the team is because we don't have a base to build attacks on, because he's constantly passing the ball away. The same with McTominay as well. In terms of if his Fred's going to be in the team to win the ball back and pass the ball to the guy next to him, that's completely fine. But if he's in the team to try and control and dictate the play, it's not going to work. We're never going to.
I agree.
Against the lesser teams, I know Wolves aren't a lesser team, of course, but against the lesser teams, we need to play Van der Beek, because his ability to build attacks is more integral than McTominay and Fred to win the ball back. Because against the lesser teams, we should be sustaining attacks. And to sustain attacks, you need people that are good on the ball. And Van der Beek, in my personal opinion, is clear of both of them on the ball. If we're playing a Man City, then of course play McFred, because of course they're gonna have more possession. It just makes sense. I mean, Ollie just has to change it for the opposition personally. But anyways, let's come back to you, David. Obviously, this is just a standard out on our shows.
No, it's fine. That's good.
I mean, to be honest, it is what it is, and everyone has different opinions, of course. David, what are your thoughts in terms of the lineup? How do you think Wolves are going to line up in this game? If you were in charge, how would you go about this lineup?
I would go with what we lined up against Tottenham, because that's all we can line up, because our squad is so small. Really. and that's what it comes down to. I can't wait for us, hopefully, to sign a couple of quick, or a quick centre half, so that we can go to a back 4 and then put the extra man in midfield to support the attack.
Yeah.
I reckon we'll be an unchanged side. It'll be 3 at the back, which will be Kilman, Cody, and Saiss, I imagine, barring any injuries tonight. I would again say Semedo will be a wing back, as will probably we'll stick with. I'm terrible with names. I'm just going to check on my notes. I am awful with names.
Is this your midfield, sorry?
Marcal.
Oh, okay.
So Marcal will probably be on the left, with Semedo on the right. But I don't know, because we did end up the game with Marcal dropping into the back 3, and I Nouri coming on. And from what I'm reading of the game commentary, that Nouri's having an awfully good game, so he may well come in, and he's a good talent that we've picked up there. So he's quite tricky, quick. Maybe his defensive side isn't quite as strong yet, but going forward, yeah, He's like most modern fullbacks, fantastic at going forward, and don't focus so much on defence.
Yeah, we've got the opposite our team, boys. Whereas, I'm assuming obviously Jimenez and Traore up top, of course.
Yeah, Jimenez, Traore, Trincao, and then Moots and Neves in the middle, I would guess.
That makes sense, to be fair.
Moutinho's come back. He looks refreshed. He was starting to flag a bit, I think, the end of last season, but he's looking stronger again. He might not make the whole game, but 60 minutes of him is at full pelt is better than 90 minutes at 70%. So, yeah, it'll be that. And then we've got our new keeper, who's much more of a sweeper keeper. So you never know, you might get a penalty.
Yeah, so I mean, the odds would be greatly stacked in our favour, should we say. Look, the name that sticks out to me there, personally, from a Man United perspective, is Semedo, because that's someone that I massively don't rate. I mean, that doesn't really make sense. But I'm not a fan of Semedo defensively. I think he's definitely someone we can get out without a shadow of a doubt. Defensively, he's not fantastic. Going forward, he's pretty good. But defensively, every time I've seen him play, even for international, he just always seems culpable for mistakes. I mean, he seems susceptible. His position is a bit off. So I think we can definitely cause him problems. He's right. He plays right wing back, so obviously Pogba will be on that side, so that'd be interesting. That, of course, if Pogba starts. Jerry, what's your lineup, brother? I mean, there's some news about Kylian Mbappe. Apparently he's going to Real Madrid. Apparently, I don't know what's going on. I'll read that in a second. But anyways, Jerry, what's your lineup? Obviously, we'll give our score predictions after the lineups. Who are you going for if you're in charge of this game?
I was thinking, to match Wolves with their formation, but I'm just thinking it's long. So obviously the 4-2-3-1 that we love to play. Obviously De Gea and goal, Wan-Bissaka, Varane has to start for me. None of this easing them in rubbish. I think Tuchel said it. He brought Lukaku to play, not to be on bench, and look what he did. Started the game, bagged the goal. So for me, Varane has to come straight in, paired up with Maguire and Luke Shaw left back. The two holders, Van der Beek obviously one. The second, I'll give Matic another goal. Fred, no, thank you. Bruno, obviously the number 10. Pogba on the left, Greenwood up top, and Jadon Sancho on the right.
Well, I think we've practically gone for the exact same lineup. I'd probably only change one player, believe it or not. We've got Akil said De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Maguire, Shaw, Matic, Van der Beek, Pogba, Bruno, Sancho, and Greenwood. I'm pretty sure it was the same as yours. Yeah. But I didn't read all of it. Ironically, I've only made one change, and can you guess who it is? I put Fred in over Matic.
Why?
That's the only change I've got. But the reason being is because I've got Fred as the DM in the double pivot. Not the loan.
I know, but that's a bit bad.
As in, Fred's job is to win the ball, but as you said, ball recovery wise is actually quite good, and it offers us a lot of energy. So I would hope that he wins the ball and just plays it to Van der Beek and Bruno who are in front of him. He's probably not going to do that, but we need it for his energy and his tenacity. Matic, on the other hand, I wouldn't be mad about it, but for me, Van der Beek, as we've already discussed, has to be the player in there. I mean, I've got Pogba on fantasy football, so I need to play. But anyways, Yusuf, let's come to you. What's your lineup? And we'll get everyone's score predictions. Who are you going for? Obviously, I've gone for Fred and Van der Beek. Have you gone for something similar to myself, or where are you sitting with those situations?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be very similar to Jerry's. The same back four. I mean, Varane has to come in. I thought he should have come in against Southampton, so I think now I think. Although, do you know what? It's strange because Oli is very loyal to the players, and
but this is what's not going to win us trophies. We don't need loyalty. We need success.
No, of course.
I'm just saying it, not to you. I'm just saying it in general.
No, you're right. Absolutely. I don't think that he's going to abandon his principles just like that. I think managers are very stubborn in their ideas, and I mean that's just how it is. I don't know why, but did you say that McTominay is out injured?
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
is that confirmed?
He's
I mean,
50%.
no, it's not confirmed, but he's been pulled out of the Scotland team, so I would imagine he's not going to play in it this weekend.
Okay, that's actually interesting. Yeah, it's tough because I'm just trying to picture that if I don't want Paul Pogba tracking Adama Traore all game, so that's why I'm saying I'd rather move.
Oh,
I'd
yeah,
rather move.
he's on
I'd rather move
Traore's
Pogba
side.
centrally.
Traore plays left wing.
He plays left. He plays on the left. I'm sure.
Oh, he doesn't play on the right.
Yeah, no, he plays. No, he used to play on the right, but he was playing on the left the other day. Definitely was playing
He's
on the
playing.
left.
He's playing everywhere at the moment. I'll be honest.
If I was you,
Yeah.
lot, I'd say go on Pogba side, Traore.
That's true.
I think Wolves might target that and just say, "Oh, let's get Pogba running back the other way."
Makes sense, innit?
Because I think that I think Luke Shaw. Well, it depends. What if David's saying that he's playing everywhere, then I suppose everybody's going to be is going to get run past.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. You can't really stop him. So
I'll be honest. He is mostly on the left.
He was on the left, from what
on the
I
left.
said.
Okay.
But they do.
Yeah.
He does seem to be increasingly popping through the middle as well, more than he used to.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah. It'd be essential that then Varane has to start. Jerry's absolutely spot on with that. But yeah, I suppose if he's on the left then or starting on the left, then yeah, I suppose Pogba will probably stay on the left because he's started the season absolutely amazingly. But I would like, you know what? Ironically, just because of the outrage over Fred, I wouldn't even mind him sitting out the game.
No, Yusuf. Who are you picking? Not who we care about. What's your...
No, because what it is
you
with
are
fans
picking
is that...
Fred in your team, Yusuf, without a doubt. Let's be real, all right, Yusuf. You've got him as your emoji. He's your picture. He always is. Fred's in your team. You don't need to please us. It's all about opinions, brother.
No, it's not that. It's just that...
Who are you going for? Forget Ali. Who are you going for?
The point I'm trying to make is that, say for example, Fred doesn't play and we win, then all you're going to hear from Man United fans, we don't need him. He's not like, but that everyone is like so. Everything's always over exaggerated. Like you win, it's like you're too high. Like it's 2 games into the season. Like with Jesus Christ, like come on, like who's going to be that good at the start of the season? Only the select few, like a few players are going to be. But I would play Van der Beek personally. Yeah, I think this is the right game. He had a very good game at Molineux, the last game of the season.
Yeah, he played well.
He was very, very good that game. The thing that impressed me the most in that game, I know Jerry was watching that game. That he was going past players very, very easily, and
he won the penalty as well, didn't he?
It was kind of a dubious penalty, but
yeah, I don't think it was.
Yeah, it was a bit. Yeah, I don't know.
We're used to them.
Yeah, I would personally, I would like to see, as Usman rightly said, that I don't know if can Matic play back-to-back 90-minute games. I don't know. It's one of those ones. It's tough. I know I'm going on, but I'd play Fred, Van der Beek, Bruno, and then Pogba, Greenwood, and Jadon Sancho. But it won't be that. But that's what I would like to see.
All right, fair enough. Right, okay, let's get everyone's score predictions. Obviously, David wants to catch the second half, which is understandable. And we normally rock at this time anyways. Make sure if you haven't already, slap a like on the video. Of course, subscribe for more content, including Kojo's show tomorrow, which will be going into a more in-depth analysis of the weekend's result. Anyways, David, first and foremost, we'll start with you as you are the guest. What's your score prediction? You don't need to give a reason why, to be honest. You can if you wish to do so. But what's the score prediction?
Well, I'm going to go for one of my outlandish, ridiculous predictions that I do on our own podcast thing. And I'm going to say everything clicks for us and you get absolutely destroyed 6-1.
Okay, right. It's been a pleasure having David on the show. I mean, oh my God, we're not Arsenal, David. You're playing us, not Arsenal. Okay, fair enough.
True.
My brother's gonna.
No, realistically, I would say more like I think it will be pretty close because we can drop a clanger at any time, but also we're going to be very much more attacking than you've seen us before. So possibly a high scoring draw, something like a 2-2, 3-3, could be quite entertaining. Good for the neutral.
Interesting. I mean, there's not many neutrals because everyone hates Man United, so it's like, so it's just the whole Wolves feels. But Jerry, what's the score prediction, brother?
2-1. I was going to say 2-0, but it looks like we can't keep clean sheets. Yeah, 2-1 United.
Jerry,
Very
you're
tight
a bit
game.
more enthusiatic. You're not really selling me this 2-1 victory, brother.
Now,
Like-
because like you said, Wolves are dodgy, man. Obviously, fans back in the stadium. We've seen with Southampton, it gave them a big boost. And for me, this game we have to score first, man. All this coming back from behind stuff we did last year, it's not going to run this time. Obviously, on Sunday we came back to get to 1-1, but we just couldn't find the extra, to get the winner. So if we score first, I'll say 3-1. If we don't, 2-1 just.
Wow, okay, so you're saying I might not win either way, fair enough.
Yeah.
Right, okay, Yusuf, what's the score prediction? We got 3-1 in the chat as well to Manchester United.
I think maybe I think 2-2. I think it'll be a draw. Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, Yusuf, I don't think you've ever been wrong in a prediction when you predicted.
No, like why'd you have to say that?
He's never been wrong. Honestly, every time he was the only person to predict us to lose in Villarreal. So
I'm just scared of this new system that David was mentioning. It's really throwing me off completely.
It can help us though.
Cavani,
It could go easily go the other way though.
we haven't even spoken about Cavani.
I forgot. I might have to change my team. I'm not
we haven't
gonna
even spoken about Cavani or Marcelo,
right.
but we'll wait until Thursday to do that. I've gone for a 1-1. I just think we're just not going to have enough quality on the day, to be quite frank with you. I mean, it could quite easily be a 2-2, which is what Yusuf's predicted, but I just think we're definitely going to concede. As Jerry said, we're not going to keep a clean sheet. We don't know what they are. And in terms of going forward, I'm somewhat pessimistic. I think he's going to play very defensive because of the threat of Traore, as he saw against Spurs. He would have looked to that Spurs game and he's probably rattled. So I'm going to say 1-1. Going to play very cautious. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully Jerry's right. Obviously David hopes he's right. But obviously that is what it is about being a fan of rival teams. But this time, I just want to say a massive thank you to our guests. As always, make sure you check out their socials. They are down below. Make sure you drop a like, subscribe to the channel. As I said, Kojo is on tomorrow at 8 o'clock with the Kojo Show. Very special guest. I'm sure most of you will know if you are a Manchester United fan within the community. She knows her stuff in terms of analysis, so it's going to be a good show. But that aside, it's been your boy. Just before we go, we're going to pass it to you, David. Just shout out your forum, shout out your socials or whatever you want to shout out, and let the people know where they can find you.
Right, well, I run a forum it's the biggest Wolves fans forum. It's just sort of, can I get it right? There, molyneux.co.uk. And it's a forum, anyone's welcome. And we're on there doing the classic Midlands moan about everything. So come and join us moaning.
Absolutely. I mean, Yusuf will be able to partake. He's from that part of the UK, of course. Yusuf, let the people know where they can find you, brother.
Yeah, you can find me on Usman Talks United most weeks. But first and foremost, I want to say thank you for having me on your show. I always appreciate it. Everyone go and support Usman. He does such a great job bringing everyone together. And he's definitely the GOAT in this. And also shout out Jerry at United Team Talk. He's putting out great content as well. And finally, great to meet David today, my fellow Wolves brethren. I'll definitely check out his forum. And even though he lives in Telford, so technically I'm the only one that's actually living in Wolverhampton right now. So
that's very true.
Spoil your local, David. Spoil your local.
Well, honestly, they're literally. I can see Telford United ground from my window.
Oh my dear God. Anyways,
yeah. So thanks a lot.
Yeah, look, fair play. Look, thank you, Yusuf, as always, for coming through, man. You're absolute legend. And last but not least, Jerry, let the people know where they can find you, bro.
Yes, the Twitter handles on screen. Obviously, Usman Talks United most weeks, and my own channel, United Team Talk, with my brothers. And yeah, man, let's just hope for a win because I'm so sad, man.
Jerry's honestly, God, I was really upset prior to the show, but I've vented. I've got it off my chest. We're gonna move on now because it is what it is. Look, make sure you show love to Jerry and his channel. Him and his brothers are absolutely hilarious. Honestly, God, I love watching it. And just check out everyone's content as always. Tomorrow, Wednesday, 8 p.m. and Thursday, 8 p.m. as well. We've got some good guests for you. Apart from that, it's been your boys, man. Have a good rest of your